Hey, awesomes. Welcome to week 4. Apologies the tardiness of this, but I didn't want to at least get the word out to you. Yeah, for whatever reason, during this kind of inclement weather, I think the internet, for whatever reason around my house, freezes up literally. I think hopefully get through this video and get this out to you really soon. This week, hopefully, as after last week, we've finished up getting some hopefully some scholarly sources together, gathering some good information on our topic. Feel like we've got a pretty good grasp, at least, of what our topic is. So now we're going to. I think we're probably should be feeling comfortable, start to feel comfortable about maybe perhaps beginning to draft maybe our introduction. And I want us to kind of think about that introduction, or at least start thinking about it this week. Kind of thinking about it in a situation where we're drafting. Make sure we focus on we don't forget about the problem, right? Or at least addressing that there is some sort of issue. Something has happened. Something is happening, right? There is this thing, right, that's occurring or that has occurred or that could potentially occur that could become an issue or that is an issue that we need to take note of, right? So, quote unquote, the problem. And doesn't have to be one of those problems where it's the end is nigh kind of a thing, but just something that you see within your topic or subject, that you can present sort of as an issue that people need to care about, right? So that we can then have a lot to say about that. So here's why you should care about it. Here's why it's important. These types of things. So we think about introduction. So here's what I kind of want to challenge you to be thinking about this week. How do we start, right? What's the first sentence, right? That's always the toughest part sometimes to write. So my encouraging words for you on that are the following. Number one, think about starting off with a startling statistic, right? The problem has this startling statistic, 89% of people, blah, 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 whatever, right? 1 in 4, 3 and 4, 2 and 5, or whatever it is, 3 out of 5 people have blah, 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 or 3 out of 5 people may experience this. It's like a startling statistic that you can back up with scholarly research, of course. Or you could start with a question. You can start with a narrative story that kind of puts your audience in the place of in this problem or in this issue or a futuristic event, let's say, something along those lines, a good story. Outside of a question too, something that you could do. So we have question, startling statistic or fact, right? We got the story. Then you could also you could start with a quote. Those are probably some of the most effective ways to try to usher in your audience as quickly as possible, kind of to the problem, and then you can segue into. Then we can talk about maybe some background information about the problem. Now that you've kind of got it centered in real quick on what it is that you're talking about, then you can go into some of that background information, right? And then you'll have like a problem statement. A purpose and an audience statement, which we kind of want to understand what is the purpose. If we're looking at this problem, what's the purpose of looking at the problem? What are we proposing that we're going to be doing as we look at this? Who do we think our primary audience is? Who's our primary readers for this? So our introduction kind of contains all of these things right down here. We have a background on the problem. We also have a discussion perhaps of some of our key sources, which may come when you give some startling statistic or a fact perhaps at the beginning, or part of the background information should perhaps include your key sources, those scholarly sources that we've been finding. And then maybe a little bit of like what's coming, right? So introduction sometimes forecast what the reader may be reading down the road in the rest of the proposal in this case, right? And maybe if there's any keywords or technical terms or anything like that that you feel need to be fleshed out, the introduction could be used for that as well. And that's kind of where I think where I'd like for us to kind of begin at least thinking about. And of course, the plan of the work is and description of your qualifications and the project's life cycle is, I don't want to say easier to write, but it kind of in essence writes itself. What are you going to do? Get research. How do you think you're going to proceed from here? Qualifications, those kind of things. But be thinking about what you've learned so far and focusing on that introduction and what might be a good way to draw people in. All right, guys, stay safe, stay awesome. I'll be back soon. Bye now.